Nevada, the great silver state and the gold. New tales of Nevada, the stories, people working hard to make a home. Old tales of Nevada.
Hello everybody, welcome to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. We're not in our usual location, we're actually on location, and we're going to tell you where, when, and why right after this message.
Hi, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall from the Marshall Mint, Virginia City and Reno, Nevada. Come to introduce you to the Let 'em Run Wild Horse Mustang series, which depicts the wild Mustangs herd running free, mare and its foal, the wild Mustangs fighting for love. These ingots are a limited edition double-struck product on 1 troy ounce 3-pine silver and are only available at the Marshall Mint, Virginia City or Reno, Nevada. Get your piece of history today.
All of us at Shoeman's Custom Cycle are ready to get you and your Harley ready for the road. From oil and tire changes to high-performance engine upgrades and dyno tuning, we at Shoeman's have got you covered with experienced factory-certified mechanics and a full-service machine shop loaded with parts and accessories. Shoeman's Custom Cycle has been serving Northern Nevada since 1988, so ride on down to Shoeman's Custom Cycle at 275 East 4th Street in downtown Reno.
Shoeman's Custom Cycle, we're the biker's bike shop.
Welcome everybody to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show, and my sidekick over here to the left of me, your right, is Hugh Roy Marshall. He's our executive producer, and he's the one that came up with the idea of doing our show about 286 episodes ago. And Hugh Roy, welcome to the show as usual. Glad to have you with us. And we're down here in Carson City, and we have the pleasure and the honor to be in the Nevada State Museum. And what's extra special is that we are in the Mint Theater, and it's in honor of you, the Hugh Roy Marshall Mint Theater.
Yeah, we've collaborated for probably 25 years or so.
Well, that's wonderful that you have this theater. It's a place where you see some nice exhibits about the ore found up on the Comstock and different places and things. But also there's a video that happens here every day that discusses the history.
It was really necessary to have this so people could see, you know, what the past was like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so we're going to spend the next hour running around the museum trying to show people everything that's here, because everything that is special in Nevada, they try to incorporate into this facility. And their mission is to show just how great Nevada is, just like our show. That's exactly what we try to do as well. So it's a nice partnership that we have here. Tell us why we do the show.
You betcha. Well, all of us make a mark on this earth during our lifetimes, and some of us maybe make a little deeper mark, some a very light mark, but everybody counts. And some people have made very noteworthy activities in this area which affected the development of the United States of America.
Yes.
After the Civil War, our country was totally broke, had no money, owed France, Germany, and England between $7 and $9 million, which would not let us get the country going until that was paid, or they would make it France, Germany, and England here in America.
That's right.
So basically, the Comstock miners came up with the money one way or the other and paid it off, and Abraham Lincoln made this area a state out of Utah in 1864.
Yeah. Therefore, it's battle-born because of the Civil War.
You betcha. So that's how it got started. But also, people don't realize that the Carson City Mint in this building, some of the very first dollars were both produced and invented.
Yes.
By 3 or 4 different gentlemen during that period.
Yeah, in fact, this room that is now the Mint Theater, this was a place where they produced those coins. Right here, there was three machines, and I think the room was larger in those days. But thing is, we're in a very historic spot.
Oh,
you know?
You betcha, and that's why I wanted to present a 69.2 gram platinum gold nugget
Wow.
that I've gotten from up in Virginia City.
Right. This is on the Marshall load.
For the museum, platinum has never been mined in Nevada nor found here. But the old timers had no use for it because they couldn't melt it.
Right, so this is for the Nevada State Museum, and I'm going to put you over here, Myron. We're just going to move you around a little bit. You stay there, you're right. And Myron Friedman is our director of the Nevada State Museum, and I'm just going to hold our microphone out here so we all can be heard well. And Myron, how long have you been the director here at the museum?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half, and I imagine it's been a great experience so far.
This is like a great big adventure story here at the Nevada State Museum. It's so much fun. There's just so much to see and do. And every day it's just a pleasure to come in and see what's awaiting our visitors.
Yeah, here we are right in the middle of Carson City, and we're in the original Mint building, which is, how old now is this building?
Well, it will be 150 years old in 2020.
2020, yeah. And boy, you guys have done a great job and, making it a beautiful museum. There's so many exhibits here, everything from mining to anthropology to
wildlife and geology, and all kinds of historical and social issues as well we look into, and all of Nevada's great stories.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's been growing really beautifully, and a number of your gentlemen over the years have made that happen, like Doug Sutherland and people that worked on the exhibits really deserve congratulations for doing a great job.
We had amazing people working here and also people supporting us, like you, Mr. Marshall. We really appreciate your support of the museum.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's the one thing about you, Roy Marshall. He's a generous man and he has a real passion for history.
He does. He really loves history and Nevada history.
Yeah, and that's why we've done, this is our 286th episode, I
Close to
think.
that 300, we'll have to have a party.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right, absolutely.
And you'll have to come back to the museum for that one.
Well, that would be a great place to have it, absolutely. So what we're going to do today is kind of run around the museum and give people a broad stroke as to what's available and show them some of the exhibits. But I want to get a history of the building, first of all. And I understand you have a great historian on board here.
We do. Bob Nyland is our curator of history here, and anything you want to know about Nevada history, this building, you name it, Bob can fill you in.
Okay, so suppose we have him come on and let you exit, because I know you have a lot of things on your plate today.
I see him right down here, so come on in, Bob.
Come on in, Bob. Thank you so much, Myron. Appreciate it very much. So, Bob, you get right there in the middle. And Bob Nyland is the curator of history, here at the museum. And I think...
I'm pretty sure I've met Bob Nyland before.
Yeah, we did a show down here once before, but we didn't get around the museum as we really wanted to. So this is our opportunity to do that. So, Bob, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Now, let's get right into the history of this building. It was put here what year?
Well, it opened in 1870 and got into production at that point. So, as Myron Friedman mentioned, our director, it's going to be 150 years in 2 years now. So we're looking forward to that and promoting that. And once production started, it was in operation until the 1893 when it finally closed down. So it wasn't in operation that long, and that's one thing that makes it a unique mint, is that it wasn't a long period that it operated. And during those 23 years, there was a couple of years that they didn't produce any coins.
So therefore, that's the value that we see in the CC mark on the coins. That makes it extra rare. Special. You know, you're right, because you have them in your store.
And just the close connection with the Comstock Lode, the famous mining district in the United States or in the world. So it all played a part. Once the mint closed, though, they didn't close the building totally. They made it a U.S. assay office. But as I was mentioning to you earlier, it was quite a loss in status to go from a U.S. mint when at the maximum they had maybe 90 workers here down to where you only had 8 or 10 workers.
Yeah, wow.
So, and for years, the community and state officials tried to encourage the U.S. Mint to reopen the Mint building, but never
got the job done.
Never got done. And then in the 1930s, during the Depression, because of the economic situation, that's when the U.S. Mint closed it down in about 1935. And then, as I was mentioned to you earlier, I was a local judge who, on a Sunday morning, he came to the post office, which is just down the street from us here in the museum, and picked up his mail. Came over here. He liked to sit on a bench right next to the historic Mint building. And as he came by, he noticed on the front of the building, on one of the pillars, a for sale sign. And that just really shocked him. He became very worried what was going to happen to the building. And that's when he had this tremendous idea to turn it into a museum.
Yeah.
And that was what started it all. It wasn't an easy process, but he was able, through his effort and getting others to support the idea, to get our legislature, after the U.S. Mint had passed through Congress legislation to allow the building to be purchased by the state of Nevada in 1939 for $5,000.
$5,000, you Roy.
What a tremendous buy.
Yes.
A very valuable buy for our state.
Yeah.
And then it took a few years to get it ready to open as a museum. And he couldn't turn to the state because they had come up with that $5,000. They had really stretched themselves to do that. So he turned to a very wealthy philanthropist up at Lake Tahoe, Major Max C. Flashman.
Oh, Flashman,
and
sure.
Flashman, he got him interested in it, and he came up with funding so that the building could completely be ready for opening day, October 31st, 1941.
1941. And it's been in operation ever since.
Yeah, we just 2 years ago, we celebrated our 75th anniversary of that
That's
opening.
wonderful. Yeah. Now, tell me, Bob, because we want to make as much use of our time as we can. How many different kinds of exhibits are in the building now?
Well, as Myron, our director, was mentioning, we cover natural history, anthropology, and that was all just located initially in the building here, and then we've added, as we'll see with your tour today, additional wings, and then another building across the way.
Yeah.
So basically, though, the Mint area where the coin presses is an important part. The theater here plays a very important part because it introduced the public to the history of how the Mint came about.
Yes, all right.
And also our mine exhibit in the basement is a very important element of the history.
Yeah, we're going to get some pictures of that because that is so authentic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got the square set and it's got different depictions of mining.
Over the years, I've worked here for 34 years. I've taken many groups down through the mine, and some people actually think we're in a mine.
Yeah, you actually do feel that way. Yeah, so we're going to.
It looks very authentic.
It absolutely does.
I'm going to have to leave and go to a mine right now.
Oh, are you? Okay, well, just wait till we close the segment.
Sure.
Yeah, and then we'll let you get out of here. Yeah. But we're going to take a break, and we're going to reset our equipment in the actual place where they produce the coins.
The coin press room.
The coin press room. Yeah. So we'll be back with more Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, right after this.
Hey everyone, Dave Asher here, introducing you to our new store, the Nevada Marketplace, in the Reno Town Mall. Anchored with the Buy Nevada First gift shop, we've added over 60 micro shops, giving locals a place to set up their dream store. We are now 20,000 square feet strong, supporting over 250 local merchants with all things made in Nevada and more. We have more locals in one place than anywhere in the state, ready to help you find that perfect gift. We're open every day with easy parking at Peckham and Virginia. Go to buynevadafirst.com, your source for all things local.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Come see us!
Somewhere in Time is a place to find what will be treasured for all time. A store full of the unexpected, high-end die-cast models, vintage and antique furniture, Fenton glassware, kerosene lamps, toy trains, vintage neon, a new home decor selection, brothel and casino memorabilia, jewelry creations, and cameras in large collections throughout the store. Bring the family and find the unexpected that will be treasured for all time at Somewhere in Time on Virginia Street in Reno.
Protect and serve. When you call for help, you want someone who works for you. It's important you don't see law enforcement as the enemy. With 26 years of experience at the Sheriff's Office, 20 of those years in leadership positions, I'm ready to take on that challenge, addressing crime and preparing the next generation of law enforcement to work smarter, focusing on solutions. I'm retired Captain Heidi Howe, ready for our future, not stuck in the past.
We're back here in Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, and we're in the coin press room with Bob Nyland, who is our historian here at the Nevada State Museum in Carson City. And wow, I just love coming in this building because it's got so many relics to take a look at. And tell us what's sitting behind us here, Bob.
This is probably our major star of those relics, is this historic coin press number 1.
Wow.
It was the original press that arrived back in 1868 and then got into production in 1870. It was made in Philadelphia by a company called Morgan & Orr.
Okay.
And they were pretty much the company that made the coin presses at that era of the mint's history. And it started production and was here for the total years of service for the U.S. Mint in Carson City, 1893.
Yeah.
Now, the great story is why does it even exist today? And we can say, fortunately, an accident happened, not where somebody was hurt, but where the press was damaged. This huge arch developed a crack in 1878.
Oh.
And the reason why the press exists today is that instead of sending it back to Philadelphia to be repaired and redone, they sent it to the Virginia and Truckee Railroad shops about a block away.
Oh, no kidding.
And they recast the whole thing. They put it all back together. We're very proud of their work. But what they did that ended up saving the press so that we see it today is they took the original builder's plate off of the press, which said Morgan & Orr, and put their name on it.
Oh.
So that when this press left here after the mint closed in 1893, anybody who would be looking at it or operating it would know that it had been in Carson City.
That's amazing.
And so in the 1950s, it actually went to Philadelphia after the mint closed here. And then after World War II, in 1945, it was shipped, the press, to San Francisco. So it was close. And it was in the 1950s that the U.S. Mint was starting to modernize and getting rid of some of the older presses. And so they had this press marked to be scrapped and gotten rid of. And so a local newspaper man contacted Judge Guild and our board and said, you better get on this, otherwise that press is going to be gone forever. And so we approached the Mint, and they wouldn't donate it, but they sold it to us for the incredible figure of $225.
Holy moly.
So
that's great.
Isn't that great? And we bought it, brought it back, but it wasn't operational. At first, when it arrived in 1958, it just sat static for static display. Mm-hmm. And then, interesting enough, just a few years later in the 1960s, there was a national coin shortage during the Kennedy administration. Mm-hmm. And our mint director at that time was a Nevada resident. Oh. She had grown up in Wonder, Nevada. Her name was Eva Adams.
Okay.
And so she knew about the coin press, and they were just getting behind in production of small denominational coins. Mm. So she approached Judge Guild and our board to borrow the press, which they agreed to do, and they shipped it off to Denver in 1964, and it was in production. They modernized it and brought it up to date, and so in 3 or 4 years, it did something like 188 million coins.
Holy.
Dimes, pennies, quarters, those smaller denominational things, nickels. And so then when it was done, they stripped it down so we couldn't operate it, unfortunately, and brought it back. And it was just a few years later, for the bicentennial in the 1970s, in 1975, the Commission for the Bicentennial saw a way to raise funds through the use of the coin press. They approached the museum board, and we agreed to allow that. And so they shipped it off to be modernized and updated. And so it came back in 1975, and we've operated ever since.
been
doing
here ever
medallions.
since. Okay, so here it is, and it still operates. You still do special printing here. Now, tell us just briefly how the operation would work. How many people had to be here in order to operate it, and where did the blanks come from, and how many coins could it do?
It was amazing. It was high technology for its day, and this is back in the 1860s and 1870s. And it was operated by steam at that time initially. There was a stationary steam engine.
Yeah, you said there was water up on a roof.
Right. They actually had tanks that they used in the minting process. And so all of the blanks, or planchettes is the right term, as they go through a process and they're ready for the coin press, were made here. So they made different sizes. Yeah. From a dime was the smallest up to a trade dollar, which was bigger than a silver dollar. And they did gold coins too. They did a $5 and a $20 gold piece.
Oh, I didn't know that.
$10. Okay. So they would make those blanks. They would have women would review them after they had been punched out and getting ready to go to the coin press, and they were the quality control.
Oh, okay.
And this meant they had about 19 women at its peak when production was at full.
And they sat at tables like this.
Right. They sat at tables like this. They usually would have a piece of leather in their lap to catch when a blank was too heavy. They would actually file on the edge to get it down to the right weight.
Wow.
And so they were creating all kinds of silver and gold dust. So they were very conscious of collecting that. And then what they would do, if it was too light, there's nothing. They would just basically send it back to be recycled.
Okay.
So then once they had approved it and it went forward, it went to the coin presses, and they only really needed one person to operate them.
Okay. Did they have a conveyor belt that came down from where they were?
No, they would have these big boxes, and they'd have carts that they could pull the heavy blanks, because when you start getting silver and gold, it gets quite a bit of weight.
Sure.
And they were also producing gold and silver bars too.
I see.
So they needed that to move those around through these carts.
Well, how did they get them from upstairs downstairs?
Well, they actually had in part of the building. There's like a little elevator,
like a dumbwaiter.
Yeah. That they can move up and down from the basement all the way up to the attic area.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they were able to use that.
Wow.
So once they were ready, they would bring them. The dies would be set in the press, and that was done by a pressman.
Okay.
And he would set if they were doing a silver dollar or a dime, he would put the correct dies in there, and then they would have women operated the presses, and also sometimes men.
Okay.
But women would sit here, and there'd be a tube, and they would have a box of blanks out here next to them, and they would just make sure that it was always filled with the blanks as it was producing. And as I said, high technology, you could do 100 silver dollars a minute.
A minute?
And smaller, like a dime or a quarter, it could do 125 of those.
And they were very precise in the way it printed, I guess,
and minted them. And so
minted them.
They would still review the strikes to make sure that there were no error coins. And there are some out there for collectors and that collect them. It just happened.
Yeah.
But basically, their job was to make sure that the run of whatever number of denomination they had to do, they completed that, and then they would review them. Many times women did that too, again, to make sure that the strikes were good before they could be bagged and then shipped out on the V&T Railroad.
Yeah, which was just outside the door of the museum here.
They had a branch line that came out of the yards, which was right across the street from us.
Amazing, amazing. Now, how many of these machines at peak, how many of these machines were in this building?
Eventually they acquired 2 more. This was the first one, but they acquired a bigger one and a smaller one.
Okay. Do you know how much coinage was actually minted out of this building, total dollar-wise?
About $50 million, and about 25 million of silver and 24 of gold. So right about that figure.
Okay. Would this indicate this county here? Was that used in the day to count the coins, or?
Well, that was added later. We have pictures of. There's one picture that shows the press here, and there's no counter on that. Most likely that was added sometime after it went to Philadelphia.
Okay.
And has been with the press ever since. And we actually had it operational.
Okay.
Ken Hoppel, who operated our press for many years, got it operational. And then a few years ago, we had to make some parts. There were some cracks. and so we haven't got it back operational.
Now, you actually turn this on from time to time,
right,
to demonstrate how it works and to do some special minting.
Right.
And does the public get a chance to actually see it happen, or what?
They actually have a chance, and they actually have a chance to buy one of the planchettes, a silver one.
Oh.
And right now we're doing the size of a 50-cent piece. It's 30 millimeter in size, so you can buy the planchette at the store. It's $60. Bring it here, and then we'll mint it into a medallion for you.
Wow, how about that?
And that's exciting. I think for people really enjoy that, to see the coin press operate, and then to see it produce these beautiful, from a silver blank into the unique designs we've developed for the mint over the years.
Yeah. So how are we doing on time, everybody? Are we we can keep going. Okay, very good. Yeah. So they would put these things in bags. Now, they were so particular about the minting process, but I understand when they put them into bags, they got scratched, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if they were that concerned about that part of it, but for collectors today, it is a concern, right?
Exactly. They weren't as concerned as collectors would have liked them to have been about that, but that's what would happen. As we were talking earlier, the top layer is where you could, collectors can say, well, that must have been on the top of the bag because there's not as much scratch marks.
Right. In fact, the ones that are more or less mint condition without the scratches, I mean, don't they go for a tremendous amount of money?
Oh, yes. Some of our coin collection that we have on display right opposite the coin press, it's amazing the values of some of the different denominations.
Yeah.
One of our most unique coins that we have in our collection is a 20-cent piece, which was made just for a short period, for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was, again, one of the U.S. senators from Nevada, John Jones, wanted to stimulate the mining. So they did pass that. But the problem was was confused with the quarter.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they stopped it. But we have one of the 19 or 20, I think, that are in existence in our collection.
It's got to be worth what? What do you think? Do you know?
I don't know.
What's the most valuable piece that people are looking for day and night around here?
That's the 1873 dime without arrows.
Right.
And that's the unique piece, that to have a complete collection of Carson City coins, which we're short too. We have 109 of the denominations, but to get the two you need, you have to have that
quarter
dime. And I keep telling, and the quarter too. Those are the two we're missing.
Yeah.
So I tell people, whoever come on tours, I said, I believe someday somebody wealthy enough will buy that and decide that they want to complete our collection and make it so the public can see it.
Wouldn't that be beautiful if we could find it? It's probably right here in Carson City.
Well, it could be. You never know.
All right. Well, listen, that great story, but it's not the only story here in our collection here at the State Museum. So we're going to move from the Mint Room to another exhibit here, and we'll meet another curator as we go about our tour here. So thanks, Bob, and we'll be back with more Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, right after this.
The beautiful fall colors are being duplicated in the fall collection of fashions at Boutique Elegante. Sweaters are either in the crayon colors for fall or soft muted shades in bark and beige. All of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante. For our cold winter days, jackets and vests are the perfect answer. Faux fur and faux leather are the strong fabrics for this season. Team them with maxi skirts for a beautiful seasonal look. All of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
Somewhere in Time is a place to find what will be treasured for all time. A store full of the unexpected. High-end die-cast models, vintage and antique furniture, Fenton glassware, kerosene lamps, toy trains, vintage neon, a new home decor selection, brothel and casino memorabilia, jewelry creations, and cameras in large collections throughout the store. Bring the family and find the unexpected that will be treasured for all time at Somewhere in Time on Virginia Street in Reno.
Deluxe Travel, locally owned and operating since 1991, is the home for travel to Mexico and Central and South America. The crew at Deluxe Travel is bilingual, trustworthy, thorough, and caring. They will do everything possible to make your dream vacation the best it can be. Now is the time to book for winter travel, so stop by the office at 100 California Avenue or call 686-7000. You can also check us out on our website at deluxetravelLTD.com.
At Deluxe Travel, we sell dreams. Come in and plan yours.
Hi, I'm Paula.
And I'm Dan. We're the producers of the Tanner's Marketplace Antiques and Craft Shows at the Livestock Event Center on Wells Avenue.
I'd also like to tell you about our everyday location. We're at Somewhere in Time on South Virginia Street. We're Antique Antiques, booth number 46.
You'll find paintings by Nevada artists, collectible glass, vintage jewelry, Native American jewelry and baskets, antiques and unusual to unique items.
Find it all at Antique Antiques inside Somewhere in Time at 1313 South Virginia Street.
Hey everyone, Dave Asher here introducing you to our new store, the Nevada Marketplace, in the Reno Town Mall. Anchored with the Buy Nevada First gift shop, we've added over 60 micro shops, giving locals a place to set up their dream store. We are now 20,000 square feet strong, supporting over 250 local merchants with all things made in Nevada and more. We have more locals in one place than anywhere in the state, ready to help you find that perfect gift. We're open every day with easy parking at Peckham and Virginia. Go to buynevadafirst.com, your source for all things local.
Hi, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall from the Marshall Men, Virginia City and Reno, Nevada. Come to introduce you to the Let 'em Run Wild Horse Mustang series, which depicts the wild Mustangs herd running free, a mare in its foal, the wild Mustangs fighting for love. These ingots are a limited edition double-struck product on 1 troy ounce 3-pine silver and are only available at the Marshall Mint, Virginia City or Reno, Nevada. Get your piece of history today.
The beautiful fall colors are being duplicated in the fall collection of fashions at Boutique Elegante. Sweaters are either in the crayon colors for fall or soft muted shades in bark and beige. All of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you.
The Office of Sheriff is nonpartisan, and so am I. Today, we seem to be more polarized on issues than together. As nonpartisan, I realize how important it is to listen to all sides. With our growing community, every voice should be heard. As sheriff, you don't get to pick and choose who you protect and serve. With no ties to special interests, I work for you, the citizens of our great community. I'm retired Captain Heidi Howe, ready for our future, not stuck in the past.
Welcome back to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. Just to remind everybody who we are, I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show, and my curator with me now is Dr. George Bumgardner, and he is a doctor of biology. That's correct. And we are in the perfect place for you. What is this exhibit we're in right now?
Well, this is an exhibit on basically Pleistocene, Nevada, which was a time from, I believe it was 2,000, like 500 years ago to, or 2,000, yeah. Can we redo that?
Yeah, okay. Just go ahead. Don't worry about it.
From the Pleistocene. And what we see here is a death scene that's been kind of romanticized of a mammoth and a horse from that time period.
Kind of a horse, right?
Yeah, it's paleontologists say it's not the same as the horse that is running around Nevada right now. Okay. Some people disagree with that.
Yeah. Now, let's get into a few details about this thing. We call it a mammoth because it's more than just an elephant.
Well,
right?
It is. It is. It's actually a Columbian mammoth, which was a fairly common animal at the time. And this is actually, at the time it was found, thought to be one of the larger ones.
Okay. And where did we find this?
This was found in the Black Rock Desert.
Black Rock Desert,
yes,
where they do Burning Man, huh?
Well, yes.
Now, let me ask. It just came to mind as we were getting ready to shoot. They found this one, but were there herds of these kinds of mammoths around there?
Well, probably were. I don't know at this particular time frame because the evidence from the geology was this animal died during a drought. In fact, it was found in what was effectively a fossilized mud pit.
Oh, really?
So it's thought that it went down and was trying to get a drink of water and basically just slipped in the pit.
Okay, so like quicksand then, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of like that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So how was it found? I mean, was there a guy just wandering around the desert up there, or was he on a search for these kind of
Effectively,
things?
there was a guy, he might have been going around looking for fossils, I don't know, but he came upon it. He had the wherewithal to recognize it as fossils, and he contacted the people, the experts, and eventually it was removed from the ground.
Okay. So and then the horse, which we call it a horse, but it's actually more than a horse as well, right?
Well, it's a horse. It's a Pleistocene horse.
Okay.
And I'll leave it up to the horse experts as to whether it's related to the current one.
And then no doubt there were herds of those.
Oh yes.
In the Great Basin.
Quite
as
sure.
well.
They probably pretty much lived like they do today.
Yeah. Is it a forerunner of the Mustang, or the Mustang was more
related.
from the Southwest?
It was related. It would have been related to the Mustang.
Okay. So when it comes back to the mammoth now, so they find this thing in the mud pit, and so how did they extract it? Did they bring it out in whole, or was it fragmented, or what?
Well, some of it was fragmented. Actually, we have the majority of this animal. We didn't get everything. I think a lot of the skull had to be reconstructed.
Oh.
Those magnificent tusks had to be reconstructed as well, but they had the initial parts of it to where they could figure out what was there.
Okay.
And so what they would have done was they would have dug a trench around it, stabilized it probably with plaster, and then they would have cut in underneath it and eventually gotten that pillar off. And then stabilized that, and then they took it to a lab, and basically then they actually took the bones out of the rock.
Now, is the thought that since you found this, that the Black Rock Desert would have more of the same kind of fossils?
Oh, I would think so. Yes.
Is there any active, research going on as far as that's concerned? Are there people out there like
DRI
yourself?
might be doing that. I actually don't know whether there's anybody out there. From time to time, things are found. The horse was found a few years after the mammoth. Now, the horse is from Wizards Beach at Pyramid Lake, but relatively close to where
in the sand.
Yes.
So as the lake dried up, these things became exposed, I suppose.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, and basically as the rock and the dirt weathered away, then the fossil became exposed.
Yeah. Now, is there any other places in Nevada? This is very special on its own, but are there any other places in Nevada where they have found prehistoric animals or?
Oh yes.
Like that.
Yes. Well, there is Balearic-Theosaurus State Park is a great example. That's the place for our state fossil, the Berlin-ichthyosaur.
Okay.
Now that is a marine reptile.
Okay.
And there have actually been dinosaurs found. I believe those are in southern Nevada.
Really?
That's fairly recent discoveries, I believe.
So was Nevada a lot more tropical at one time, green, less desert, or what?
I would imagine a little bit of all of that. I don't know about the tropics, but it certainly, for a while it was underwater at different times.
Yeah.
And then it was, it dried up, and then it got wet again, and then there were lakes, and probably more along the lines of more like the pinyon juniper. Okay. I don't know that it ever got less tropics, but that would be somebody else's field.
Okay. So when you think about Nevada, it got wet, it got dry, but it didn't happen overnight. I mean, you're talking 1,000 years.
Millions of years.
So it indicates that the Earth does warm and it does change, and it's been going on for a long time. So I guess we shouldn't worry about global warming so much, right?
We'll
it could
see.
go the other way. Who knows?
So of course, these guys died out too, so maybe we need to worry.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So what else will a person see in this? And this exhibit is called what?
Well, this is actually called Nevada's Changing Earth. It is our geology gallery.
All right.
And we have an excellent example cases of minerals that can be found in the state.
Okay.
We have examples of some of the other rocks. And there's a discussion of the geology. One of the things that's fairly unique about Nevada is there's been a lot of volcanic activity and a lot of earthquakes, a lot of stretching of the Earth's crust.
Okay.
So that's covered here, and then in the adjacent rooms we have examples of the animals that are currently running around.
Sure, and they're plentiful.
They're very plentiful, yes.
So, we talk a lot about the minerals in Nevada. We are so unique. We just did a show on the lithium mining in Nevada. It's very unique to the United States, but Nevada as a whole has just a plethora of special minerals that are either mined or, just for people to look at.
Right.
Yeah. So what a special place we have, and again, that's your mission, right?
Yes,
Here at the museum.
to educate people about that.
Yeah, and the end result is that hopefully people will have some real pride about where they live, right?
Some pride and some recognition of what they see when they're out there, and some appreciation of that stuff.
So you, as a curator here, are you stuck in the office all the time, or do you get out and about?
Not all the time. I actually was privileged to be able to do some field work on bats just last week.
Bats?
Yes.
Okay, now where do we find bats?
Well, you can find bats all over.
Really? Huh?
Yes, and we were actually down doing, I say we, it was a lot of different agencies, Department of Wildlife, BLM, Forestry Service, a lot of different people, down surveying what bats occur in the new state park down at along East Walker River.
East Walker River, okay.
And that's just basically south of Urington.
Yeah, right.
And it's a brand new park. It's in development. It'll be open fairly soon to the public.
And what's the theme of the park? What is it?
Well, it's based around the river. It's those were a number of different ranches down there, many of which have not been open to the public for hundreds of years.
Really?
And I mean, they were worked ranches. There were people on them, but the general public couldn't
go on there.
And so there's apparently some world-class trout fishing available, and hiking. I think they're going to allow for OHV, off-road vehicle, on certain trails.
Yeah, because I've been down there, and you're running along 395 to the south, and there's a lot of fishing going on even now with what's
and some of this is people are already fishing it, but there'll be other places that'll be open, and then it'll be open for kayakers.
Oh, no kidding!
Well.
You can actually kayak on the Walker, huh?
The Walker has still got quite a bit of water in it.
No kidding, really? Wow, that's fantastic.
But there's not a lot known about the bats down there, so it was really very helpful to find out what lived in the area.
Yeah. So what happens? Who decides that you're going to go out and research bats or look for another mammoth? I mean, does the funding determine how much you can do and where you can do it, or
funding always determines what you can do?
Yeah, because that's not an easy thing to do.
That's not an easy thing to do. In this particular case, excuse me. This is a project that is done every year to study bats in Nevada, and these different agencies come together with a whole lot of different biologists that are familiar with bats.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. So so that's interesting, and so the whole purpose of researching it is to preserve it, identify it.
Well, to preserve it, to know what's there. How can you manage an area if you don't know what lives there?
Yeah. Now, are the bats that you find in Nevada, are they the big bats with the big wings, or are they these little small bats that you?
They're a little bit. I mean, bats are deceiving. When you see them on the wing, they're actually not quite as big as a lot of people think.
Oh.
But we had some bats that wing spread were out like that.
Wow. Okay. I don't like bats myself. Well, you have a very interesting job. And who determines what exhibits you put out here on the floor?
Well, that's generally a committee of people. I mean, I might come forward with, I got this really neat whatever.
Yeah.
Or I have this idea for this, or somebody else might. But it's generally our exhibits committee and obviously what our exhibits folks can build.
Okay. So we want to invite everybody here to the exhibit called, give us that again?
This is Nevada's Changing Earth.
Changing Earth. And it's for kids under 17, it's free. For parents, it's, I think, $8. I mean, what better place could you spend with your family than to come out and see these kinds of exhibits found right here in Nevada? So thank you very much, George. I appreciate all your good information. And we're going to move on to a different exhibit, so stay tuned for our last segment of Old Tales of Nevada right after this.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you.
Hey everyone, Dave Asher here introducing you to our new store, the Nevada Marketplace, in the Reno Town Mall. Anchored with the Buy Nevada First gift shop, we've added over 60 micro shops, giving locals a place to set up their dream store. We are now 20,000 square feet strong, supporting over 250 local merchants with all things made in Nevada and more. We have more locals in one place than anywhere in the state, ready to help you find that perfect gift. We're open every day with easy parking at Peckham and Virginia. Go to buynevadafirst.com, your source for all things local.
Somewhere in Time is a place to find what will be treasured for all time. A store full of the unexpected. High-end die-cast models, vintage and antique furniture, Fenton glassware, kerosene lamps, toy trains, vintage neon, a new home decor selection, brothel and casino memorabilia, jewelry creations, and cameras in large collections throughout the store. Bring the family and find the unexpected that will be treasured for all time at Somewhere in Time on Virginia Street in Reno.
The beautiful fall colors are being duplicated in the fall collection of fashions at Boutique Elegante. Sweaters are either in the crayon colors for fall or soft muted shades in bark and beige. All of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante. For our cold winter days, jackets and vests are the perfect answer. Faux fur and full leather are the strong fabrics for this season. Team them with maxi skirts for a beautiful seasonal look. All of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
If you ask a law enforcement officer what causes them the most stress, many would say the brass or the bureaucracy above them. In my 26 years with the Sheriff's Office, favoritism and cronyism felt like policy. Our law enforcement officers have a tough enough job. They deserve respect, and so do you. I'm retired Captain Heidi Howe, ready for our future, not stuck in the past.
All of us at Shoeman's Custom Cycle are ready to get you and your Harley ready for the road. From oil and tire changes to high-performance engine upgrades and dyno tuning, we at Shoeman's have got you covered with experienced factory-certified mechanics and a full-service machine shop loaded with parts and accessories. Shoeman's Custom Cycle has been serving Northern Nevada since 1988. So ride on down to Shoeman's Custom Cycle at 275 East 4th Street in downtown Reno.
Shoeman's Custom Cycle with a biker's bike shop.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you.
Protect and serve. When you call for help, you want someone who works for you. It's important you don't see law enforcement as the enemy. With 26 years of experience at the Sheriff's Office, 20 of those years in leadership positions, I'm ready to take on that challenge, addressing crime and preparing the next generation of law enforcement to work smarter, focusing on solutions. I'm retired Captain Heidi Howe, ready for our future, not stuck in the past.
You have got to come and see our bridal designer collection here at Precision Diamonds. We bought our building, lower the overhead. That means everyday low prices to you.
We're back here for our last segment of Old Tales of Nevada Past and Present, and with me now is the curator of anthropology, and it's Eugene Hattori.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for letting us come and see your exhibit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Glad you're here.
So you handle all the anthropology exhibits here in the museum, right?
Well, I'm responsible for them, but I've got a staff of.
You got a staff that helps you out there, yeah. We're actually in a vault. Now, how did we wind up in a vault?
Well, this was the former First National Bank of Nevada building from the 1950s here in Carson City, and we were fortunate enough to be able to adapt it after they left. And, use it as our basketry storage vault.
Okay, so in the old days, this place was full of money, but we probably have more value sitting behind us here than they ever had in the vault.
In some respects, millions.
Millions of dollars worth of, and we're looking at it as baskets, and you say, how the heck can that be worth so much money? But tell us the story about these baskets.
Well, this is the heart of our collection. is the personal collection of the storekeepers, Abe and Amy Cohen, who had the Emporium store and later the Kit Carson store here in Carson
City.
Where
were they located, do you know?
They were on Carson Street in two locations, one of which was Hannafin's Antiques.
Hannafin's Antiques. Right. I've been in there. Okay, great. So the lady who developed these baskets.
Dotzel Lee.
Yeah.
Her baskets became popular thanks to Amy Cohen, and this is Abe Cohen's first wife, during the arts and crafts period, mid-1890s here in Carson City.
Okay.
And they had her weave baskets expressly for sale to willing customers, this being one of the very earliest of the baskets offered for sale at the Emporium in the mid-1890s.
Okay. Now, what would that basket back in 1890 be worth?
Well, this basket was sold to a personal friend of the Cohens, Dr. S.L. Lee here in Carson City.
All right.
And he recorded it at $20. But this is, I think it's 1896 or so.
Right.
But a few years later, 1902, not to Dr. Lee, but that basket was offered for sale for $2,000.
Wow.
In 1902.
1902.
Yes.
Okay, now let's bring it up to present day. And what is that same basket worth today?
You know, I'm not sure on that particular basket, but it's probably in the vicinity of $500,000 to $750,000.
Wow.
But this basket was shown at the Lake Tahoe exhibit at the Nevada Museum of Art, and for them to borrow it, they had to insure it. The insured value was $1 million for that basket.
$1 million for a basket. Well, what is it about the basket that she weaves that made it so valuable?
Part of it is her name and the demand. There's only a finite number of baskets that she wove, especially to that scale. And people are willing to pay for it for the name, number one, Dotzel Ali, and also you can see the design and the innovation associated with that. Actually, I should show you some of the traditional washoe baskets, which are more functional.
Where are they at?
They're behind you there.
Let's see. Oh, over here. Yeah, you have a whole bunch of baskets in there. Yeah, and they're all valued at different amounts, and they come from different tribes here in Nevada?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But you see the baskets on the bottom two shelves there.
Okay.
And I'll pull the shelf open so you can take a look.
Yeah. Why don't you grab one of those while you're... Can you pick one up?
I can.
All right. You got to put your gloves on, huh?
We do.
Yeah. So tell me, while we're waiting for you to do that, why is this basket worth $1 million and these are worth a lot less?
Well, actually, a better example would be one like this, which is same scale and same period of time.
Okay.
It's the name and the demand by the
demand, but it's also the technical execution, isn't it?
In many respects, not so.
No, really.
And but people that the collectors and the scholars that study her baskets, they can tell which baskets are hers.
Why?
So it's the scholars look at the details of the weave, how she inserted one willow strip or thread into the basket to keep on weaving.
I see. So she did it a little bit differently than your average basket maker.
Each basket maker had their own style and their own techniques.
Okay, very nice. But I also heard it was the consistency of her. Oh, I shouldn't touch it. It's $1 million. I just touched $1 million worth of basket.
I'll give you a glove.
There you go. But it's a consistency and the creativity of those designs, right?
It's creativity, as well as consistency. There are other basket makers that are technically finer weavers than she.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. I thought she was like the cat's meow when it came to that.
Yeah.
So show me one of the more average baskets.
Well, these aren't necessarily average as much as...
We're going to dive right in here and look at... Oh, there's a nice one. Now, what's that made out of? Is that still...
These are the same materials.
Willow?
Willow with... the design for the black is bracken fern root, same with Dotzel Ali. But
Why isn't that one worth $500,000?
This is a basket that the Washoe used for cooking.
Oh,
this is a basket that's functional, but it's still decorative.
Yeah,
and
all
quite
right.
beautiful.
Yeah,
but it's dirty in terms of some of the collectors, as well as not as technically finely constructed.
Okay.
So the purpose of this was to be used. The purpose of that was to be seen.
Yeah, seen. Wow. So how old is that particular basket?
This is 1899.
1899. Was that found somewhere or donated?
No, this
or
was
what?
purchased by another founder of the museum's collection, Dr. Lee, who I mentioned earlier.
Okay, very good.
He was an avid
collector of baskets.
Collector during the Victorian as well as the arts and crafts.
All right.
period.
So do you have these things donated to you for safekeeping and for display, or do you have to purchase?
The vast majority of our baskets are donated.
They're donated by collectors, huh?
By people in the state as well as outside the state trying to return materials back to Nevada.
Yeah. So in the case of our favorite basket weaver over here, the most valuable ones, are there thousands of them out there, hundreds of them out there? How many are actually?
There are about 125 of this scale.
Really? This is the finest work?
These are what we consider to be her major pieces.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But in between making these major pieces, she made smaller baskets.
Okay. Now, I understand she used to sit out in front of the store. I don't know if it was down here in Carson or up in Tahoe where they had another store. Well, she used to sit out there and do this kind of work.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up at Lake Tahoe, we heard that she sat on the pier waiting for the steamships to come in, the tourist boats to come in, as well as in front of the Cone's branch store, their summertime store up at Tahoe City, called the Beacoos, and she would sit there weaving her baskets.
Now, did she ever see the fruits of her labor as far as money was concerned? Did she become wealthy over time?
She certainly didn't become wealthy, nor, in fact, the Cones didn't either, but she was provided for by the family, and she had a house, a modest house provided by the
here in
Coens.
Carson.
Behind their arts and crafts house is the Dotzel Lawley's board and batten wooden house.
How about as far as reputation? Was she able to see her name and her basket? She was doing something good. She knew she was famous, huh?
Yeah. She went to fairs that were held in the 1900s and demonstrated.
Okay. How long did she live?
She passed away in 1925.
Oh, that's a long time ago. Yeah, I thought it was more recent than that. Yeah.
And she was buried at Stewart Indian School.
Oh, no kidding. Very historic. We want to do a show on that particular location, too, because a lot of history happened over there.
Right.
Yeah. So did she have family that she...
well, she had no children that survived.
Oh, okay. So nobody else picked up her skill, huh?
There are others that claim descendancy from the family line. And
they did the same thing? They're weavers, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just on a technical side, all of this is made of some sort of a willow found in Nevada?
This is our typical shrub willow.
Oh, okay.
And then the brown is a plant called redbud.
Oh, okay.
And it's a bush.
It's a bush. I think we've seen that in the state for sure. And they would actually curate or marinate these willows somehow.
Actually, the bracken fern root, the black, is initially kind of a gunmetal gray.
Okay.
And it has to be processed. Burying it in mud traditionally or placed in a tin can with nails historically to get a dark, rich.
Well, we're running out of time rapidly here, but this is an amazing exhibit, and people can come see this by appointment as far as this area was concerned.
Scheduled behind-the-scenes tours of our collections that Natural History and History have. For Natural History and us, we have it the last Friday of the month when the coin press.
Okay, very good. So anyway, thank you so much, Eugene, for letting us come over and see this beautiful collection. I'm blown away by the value of this stuff, you know. But listen, all of this is available here at Nevada State Museum. It's a very, plethora of different kinds of items and exhibits to see. And it's all about Nevada. It's all about what's special in Nevada. It'll make you have pride in Nevada. So we want to invite everybody down. Check the website for pricing and for hours and for special programs, because it's all available right down here in Carson City. So don't drive by, stop by, okay? The Nevada State Museum, and we want to thank everybody for being with us this week and invite you back next week for another episode of Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present. In the meantime, Eugene, we always say, have a great Nevada day, and we'll see you next week on Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present.
Thank you.